A lovely good afternoon, and welcome to the Real Talk with C and H, a podcast that promotes real talk and real growth. And welcome to our episode 4. And today's topic is a very powerful one. And as usual, before we get to that topic, I'll introduce myself. My name is Cyprian Katongo Jr., and I'm your co-host. And I'll allow my co-host to bring himself to the podium and also introduce himself.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hussein Dodia, and I'm the co-host of Real Talk with CNH.
Powerful. Today's topic, like I said, is a very powerful one. And today's topic, we're looking at leadership attributes, ideology, and governance. Before we dig deeper into this topic at hand, I'll allow my co-host to send Dodia, to briefly just introduce the topic at hand.
Thank you, Mr. Katongo. Yes, I feel this is a very important topic because it relates to the foundation of leadership, one of the pillars of leadership, which is ideology and governance. And just to introduce it, ideology is basically, in simple terms, a set of ideas or ideals that assist or guide in economic and political growth, either of a nation or of a business or cooperative. It helps us give us direction. If I were to put it in layman's terms, I would say it would be the vision of a company or a nation, where they wish to be in the future and what they wish to attain. And I feel that it's very important that when starting out, especially in leadership, you must have a particular set of ideals, because these ideals shape your outlook on life. These ideals not necessarily have to be physical at the present moment, but can be an aspiration to what you look to, or an ideal situation that you wish to attain in future. I would also just like to say, as we're starting out, to outline some of the ideologies that exist in the world. We have nationalism, we have communism, we have socialism. These ideals operate in different countries all over the world, and some of them are even mixed together. You have a nationalist socialist economy, you have a nationalist communist economy, and they're also changing with times. They do not have to be stagnant. Just to break it down a bit, I would like to define some of these terms to make it easier for our audience to understand. So when we refer to, I'll start with nationalism. When we refer to nationalism, it is basically an ideal of where you put your country and your people first, with disregard to other nations. You look after your people first, and then once that is done, you then consider the outside world. Communism is a system, an ideal, in which all the factors of production, trade, and industry are controlled by the people. And socialism is exactly the same thing as communism. The only difference between socialism and communism is that there is no right to private property under communism. Under communism, everything is owned or controlled by the state, but the people receive the benefits. Each one receives the benefits that are provided by the state. Under socialism, it is your labor effort that determines how far you go in life, right? So depending on how much you put in is what you will get out. Now, I think it's very important that we cover this aspect first before we start talking about governance. Because with ideology, it like I said, it builds the foundation of growth. If you do not have an ideology, it's almost like going on a mission without knowing who your enemy is, or going somewhere without knowing where exactly you're going. So it provides a direction of where you want to be in the future. So ideology, to me, is very important because it shapes the outlook of what you intend your nation, your company, your industry to look in the future.
Very powerful, take on ideology, because I've loved the way you've broken down ideology and also given different aspects attributed to ideology, because normally people tend to not understand what ideology when it comes to leadership is all about. And you've been a leader also. You have made it very easier for the audience to get the essence of having why leaders need to have powerful ideas when it comes to ideas, decision making, which can benefit people in terms of development, so to say. And we'll throw in also how leaders should be Google Maps, for a nation.
For sure.
And so to say, because in the show, the podcast we have, we show the human aspect of such topics, and that's why we brought in the example of Google Maps, to make people understand. They understand how a Google Map works.
Definitely.
I need to go this side.
Yes.
And to go this side. So
Definitely.
Leaders.
In fact, that's a very good example.
Really, leaders should also be in that position to give people clear directions of how the nation is going to be. Having said that, I want to expand more because my co-host, Mr. Dodgia, has powerfully, established, what ideology when it comes to leadership is. We'll move on to now governance and leadership. And as usual, I'll allow Mr. Dodgia, to come in and also expand. He's in a good position, and you can tell that the excitement is there. We have wanted to make good and better at the same time. Gooder. Go ahead, Mr. Dodgia, with governance and leadership.
Okay, definitely. Okay, so once we have established an ideology, which is our foundation of where we want to go, we can now bring in governance. Now, governance, as we all know, is how we manage our people and resources on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah.
It's the idea of utilizing the best of our resources and the least of our resources to make our economy and our country better. So it's very important that when we're governing people, that there's a semblance of true leadership, as we're talking about here. And when the governance aspect comes in, I also just wanted to highlight a few aspects. Now, I know there's different types of governance. There's autocratic, there's monarch, there's oligarchy, there's so many. There's one-party state, but I just want to focus clearly on democracy because that's our nation, right? We're focused around democracy. So democracy is, as we all know, is ruled by the people, right? For the greater good. And that's a very good form of governance, right? But the issue that I fear is that we have a situation where we have a democratic setup, but we have no ideology. We know that we need to govern people, but we don't know where to take them. So this is where ideology comes in. So like I said before, you have this mission that you're going on, but you don't know who you're fighting. Are you fighting creatures? Are you fighting men? Are you fighting animals? Are you fighting beasts? So it's important to have that foundation of an ideology. So that's why I wanted us to go from ideology to governance. Thank you.
Very powerful stuff, and you can tell that the reason why I keep on, putting Mr. Dodja on that, you can even hear the ideas the way they are flowing. I'm just there today as a listener also. Also under good governance, also the issues of transparency, accountability also plays very important. They play a very important role in that leaders having good ideologies, which they've set already in terms of decision making, which can be beneficial to the nation. They also should also focus on being accountable in their actions and also be transparent. They shouldn't be leaders who are in the position of whether they have power, but they shouldn't abuse that power, whereby they don't show people how they're spending, the money, and which has been collected through maybe, let's say, the revenue tax collected from taxpayers. Accountability also shows that the leader is in the position in terms of making sure different ministerial position, let's put it as the president, for example, is in a better position, or rather, he will be in a better position to govern his fellow leaders in his different government departments, so that governance is seen by the people. From Mr. Dodja's definition, government is government by the people for the people.
Yes.
For the greater good at the end of the day. So having such put in place, just to add on Mr. Dodja's points there, having accountability, transparency, I think even people can be in a better position also to trust leaders, because they know that the leaders, they chose the right leaders who are going to help sort out issues which affect them. They can be social, economical, challenges which people face. So having said that, these are very powerful points which have been shared by Mr. Dodja and myself. We have looked at governance and leadership, and also started with ideology and in leadership. I think these two marry each other very powerfully, in that people now can understand that a country is in a path of development, because everything has been set in motion, that people can value how leaders can develop the nation, because that's the reason why they voted them into power. Having said that, let's look at now the attributes of effective leaders, because I like to think it's important also to tackle on that. Before I bring in Mr. Dodja in, I want to briefly just go through my points, because I know Mr. Dodja, being a leader himself, he has set aside his own attributes. So I'm going to run briefly the attributes from my research. I think the attributes which make leaders to be effective in terms of developing their nation at large. Let's look at behavior. Behavior is a very critical determinant of effectiveness when it comes to a leader, because a leader who is not positive surely cannot be in a position of not even developing themselves, developing the nation at large.
Exactly.
A positive attitude towards developing the nation. Let's look at aspects of having empathy, having, like I mentioned earlier on, transparency. That leader is in the position of showing that, away from being a leader, I have empathy to listen to what you're going through. And also, I'm in a position whereby I value also integrity in my leadership. So behavior sums up all that a leader should have this attribute. Looking at also personality traits, which also entwines with also behavior. Personality traits also matters. You cannot have a leader who's life of a party, every time child leader, then forgetting the main things which need to be focused on. A leader should show also levels of having cognitive power, in that that person is able to be intelligent enough to handle challenges which are being faced in the country. For example, you can use the example of Zambia. You can even tell the excitement here. I'm using example twice there. The example of, the floods. A leader should be in a position, to seek out, from professionals who are experts,
Exactly.
to handle issues which are affecting people, like, for example, floods.
For sure.
How are floods going to be addressed? Is it the drainage systems which are being messed up? Is it the people building on water systems? In all that. And also issues of load shedding. I know people are complaining right now, the context of Zambia, in that Kariba Dam is full, but there's also this issue of floods and also power. Is ZESCO willing to switch on power areas which are affected by floods? Because at the end of the day, we don't want issues which will become more life-threatening. So at the end of the day, a leader should have this personality trait which shows that they are very intelligent, to solve complex challenges like such. And also, just at the end of the day, being a person who has charisma, because you cannot be a leader who's just stone-hearted. You don't want to listen to anyone.
Exactly.
You just, I know what I'm doing in life. You shouldn't be that leader.
You can't know everything.
Yeah. So you need to open up also, learn from other people, have an open mind, so to say. Moving on, also motivation. A leader should also be in a position of, away from just being a leader. A leader should also motivate other people.
Exactly.
And him or her. Sometimes. Feel.
No more.
No more. So in that way, the leader motivating other people, to work hard, provide also ways of how people can also, achieve certain goals in life. That leader is in a good position also, to show that away from being a leader, I can motivate your people and also provide also solutions or other mechanisms which can be used to address the challenges which people are facing, so to say. And also stress tolerance, because being a leader, trust me, is a very tough undertaking.
Definitely.
So if a leader is able to handle stress, they don't lash out to people, I think they're in a better position to handle all these things which affect their leadership process, so to say. So stress tolerance is very important, for a leader to manage, and rather to have and also manage the challenges which he or she, faces. Just to sum up the behavior attributes of effective leadership, so to say, which make a leader effective. Chisongo chiwama Chisongo. Kwaba kulufyanya nekuchichitako Chisongo. At this particular time now, bringing in Mr. Dodge also to give his attributes of effective leaders, because I think Chisongo Charamdara Chisuma sana. So allow him, to come in and also, add on his, the attributes of effective leadership. Over to you, Mr. Dodge.
Thank you, Mr. Kantongo. And don't worry, I like the way you're mixing the languages. Very important, Sometimes you have to. Anyway, just to add on to what you said, and not actually to add on, because you've basically mentioned all of them. Those are very all-important attributes. But I just wanted to emphasize where those attributes stem from, right? As our topic states, we're looking at leadership attributes, ideology, and governance. Those attributes that you've just mentioned stem from an ideology, right? The only way you can be such a person in life, in leadership, is to have a vision that no one else can see. I'm going to give you a very good example. If we look at people like Muammar Gaddafi, Patrice Lumumba, if we look at people, even Adolf Hitler, as terrible as he was, they all had a vision, right? That vision stemmed from an ideology that they decided would be best for their country, right? So when you create an ideology, or when you embark along a certain ideology, you are not looking at the present, you are looking at the future, right? So you are using this ideology to shape your people, your nation, your country to a future outlook of where you intend to be, a greater purpose, would I say. And when it comes down to that, in my opinion, I would just like to say that the best right now for us as Zambia would be a nationalist communist ideology, a mixture of both. I had emphasized in the beginning that nationalism is a focus on your people and your economic resources and your social resources and your expertise to benefit your people first before you think about the outside world. Right now, we are going through many problems, as Mr. Katongo has mentioned. We're going through floods, we're going through load shedding, skyrocketing prices, commodity prices, fuel shortages. These things can be curbed if we have the right ideology in place. And also we have a poverty gap, which is incessantly growing. I mean, right now we're standing at almost 80% of our people being below the poverty line. It's a very large number, okay? And if it continues growing, it would be very bad for our economy, right? Because it means even the factors of production are not being held by the Zambian people. They're being held by foreigners or outsiders or direct investment that is not controlled by the Zambian people. Now, under a nationalist communist society, communism, like I said before, is not a bad thing, right? It just means that the factors of production are controlled by the state, right? By the people themselves, and the benefits are felt by the people, okay? So regardless of whether Mr. Katongo is working and I'm not working, if he's going to make any money to improve our conditions of living, I'm going to feel that benefit, right?
Yes.
So based on our current situation, we need that type of governance where the people who can afford to grow the nation, who can afford to ramp up the factors of production, who can afford to put money into different enterprises, our Zambian people should do that. And the benefits can be felt by the rest of the people, even the poor. In that essence, you will find that even the poverty gap will start to reduce because everyone is feeling the benefits of the top, right? All those who have got the means and tools necessary to build up our industries can now pass on those benefits to the people below them, right?
You have a ripple effect.
You have a ripple effect, exactly. So that's the way it has to be. And with time, I feel that within the next 5 to 10 years, if we can continue down that road, we can eventually move to a nationalist, socialist economy. Where now, when people have elevated themselves out of poverty, they are able to produce their own means of living, right? Which means now you move from a state-owned, property-controlled system to now where the labor, the factors of production are now moved to individuals. So you reap what you sow, basically, right? You work harder, you earn more money. You don't work, you're lazy, well, tough luck, right? But right now, that sort of system can't work because even with capitalism involved, it's basically ruled by private owned companies, right? The factors of production are ruled by private owned companies, which makes it unfair to the common man, right? There's a time for everything, I believe. In government, in companies, things are always changing, you know. There is no time where you are always going to be heading to the top, you know. It's like a stock market chart, right? Goes up, down, up, down, up, down. So you need to be able to manage that chart effectively. And if you were to ask me, personally, I would say the nationalist communist form of ideology is what would bring us out of this rut. because it would empower our local people. It would give them some sense of pride in providing to their communities. It would allow them to share the benefits that are attained from minerals, from agriculture, from industries that we plan on developing. And then slowly, as industries develop and after being subsidized by our government, when they are able to stand on their own 2 feet, we can now bring in a situation where people work for their means of living, right? Because now you've created enough jobs, you've created enough money to go around, right? People are no more living just to live, to survive, Now they're living to thrive. At this very moment where we are right now, people are living to survive. Whatever money comes their way is either going to their rent, to their food, to their bills. There's very little saving that is happening. And the reason of that is happening is because we're inviting so much private investment, right, that it's only being felt by the very top, the few at the top, right? While those at the bottom that are below the poverty line or the ordinary Zambian is not feeling any of those benefits, right? So the gap will keep getting wider. And I think it's very important that as Zambians, we need to set an ideology. We need to know exactly what our leaders are thinking, what the future holds for us. Because I'm not going to lie to you, things seem uncertain. Things are shaky. Tomorrow could be a disaster. Tomorrow could get better. We don't know, you see. But if we have a vision that we can look up to, it's very easy for our people and us to hold on to that vision, to hold on to that hope that things will get better and things will cascade down to even the most remote Zambian in the remote part of the country. And this is where I feel we have a gap. We have governance, a very good democracy. Political parties are free to campaign. There is freedom of speech. There is a lot of, political clout for different parties, depending on how good you are. So the air of democracy is good, right? People are able to discuss issues without fear. They're able to bring up ideas. They're able to bring up their own systems that can work or that they feel can work. And that's a very good point. But I feel that we do not have an ideology. What is it that we are aspiring to? What is it that we hope to attain in the future? You see, with every change of government or political party, whatever you want to call it, I feel they do not address that, There's always this system of, we've won, okay, so let's just continue with how things were, or let's just move on, you know what I mean? As long as we're in office, we're sitting in the government offices, things are good, let's just continue as usual. For you to make definite and good change, especially drastic change, you need to take drastic measures. And these drastic measures involve having some sort of higher purpose, right? And this is why I'm always going to refer to what I said in the beginning, No soldier goes into a mission not knowing who his enemy is, you see? Democracy is the mission, right?
Yes.
The vision is the enemy, right? But so what tends to happen is that we're going on this mission, but we don't know what we're fighting for. We don't know who we're fighting for. We don't know what we're fighting against. So I feel this is the gap that we have. We need to know, what are we planning to achieve? And I think this is an important question that needs to be answered, especially by our leaders, by us who are aspiring to be leaders, by those who are already leaders in their own industries, in their own institutions. these are things that you need to constantly keep at the back of your mind. You need to have that vision. That vision guides you, even through the worst of times, even through the hardest of times. If you can see that vision as clear as day, believe me, you will not waver from it. No matter how hard things get, no matter how bad things get, no matter how good things get, you still aspire to a certain standard that you want to hold your people up to, or your nation up to. Thank you very much.
Just to add on briefly, as you can tell, the co-host was just nodding with. Those are very powerful points. Like I said, Mr. Dodia is in a good position, to expand. You can tell from the passion that such a topic, holds a lot of weight.
No, definitely.
For people to appreciate, because normally we don't have such discussions. So we only hear leadership, many things there.
Yeah.
So it's important to break down different aspects of leadership and also be realistic in talking about discussing whether issues pertaining to as I was nodding, I picked up few points there. Leadership style is very important for a nation to develop, which also can fall under attributes. What makes an effective leaders? Leadership style. Not to go deeper, because Mr. Dodia has powerfully outlined so just for the audience, to get the passion Mr. Dodia was focusing on, a leader, or let's just put it, leaders should be transformational. What this means is that
Definitely.
you should be in the know. You shouldn't be stuck with the same system. You should also focus on being that leader who knows how to transform ideas, not only ideas to suit today's challenges, and also future challenges. That way you already know that the nation will be safe. It's a safer, so to say. Even if different government comes in.
For sure.
But there's a system which has been set.
They have the same vision.
At the end of the day, which brings in also, you can tell the passion from Mr. Dodia. He's even stepping in and no, Mr. Katonga left out a point there. A transaction whereby the point he has just mentioned, the vision is still there. And also the type of leadership he mentioned there, a bit of nationalism and also communism. These are very important in that people will appreciate in the long run.
Yes.
I know there's misinformation when it comes to such leadership styles, because people will think they want to relate with Hitler.
Yes.
Hitler, this would be an popular opinion.
Yes.
If Hitler didn't focus too much on revenge,
Yes.
based on his past trauma,
Yes.
if he had focused his energy in just building Germany, he would have developed Germany to be
very true.
To be that. But the difference between how he used the leadership style he's talking about is that he focused on destroying a certain race, one race, and described this disrespecting or not regarding other races. That's a mistake Hitler did there. But otherwise, if he just used the same concept to focus on building Germany, he would have also used that also to expand to Europe and the rest of the world. He would have been the best, in fact, a brilliant leader if he had just followed that way.
Definitely.
But this, the concept Mr. Dodia, has brought out to focus right now is these are very powerful ones, which can contribute to the national development, because you cannot have a situation every time the government comes in, we develop, then it ends there.
Exactly.
A new government comes in, instead of focusing on development, now you focus on arresting people.
For sure.
Now delaying the process, the developmental process. We understand corruption is involved in everything. Those are very important things to look at when you come into power. But at the end of the day, the key point is, what are you doing for the people that's coming today, in the future?
Exactly.
So the leadership styles that I mentioned, these are very powerful ones. And at this particular time, I'll allow Mr. Doji, to share his takeaways, from the discussions, the discussion we had today, it being a very powerful topic. And I want to go further, but our time is not there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Your takeaways from the discussion, Mr. Doji.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to end finally with just saying that ideology for me is very important. I feel that it shapes us, especially as leaders. It will guide us on what we need to do next. It will give us North Star or a compass on how we should move forward and guide our people. And it will also, like Mr. Katongo said, I really liked his point where he said it motivates the people. You see, when you have a strong leader at the helm, at the forefront, I mean, look at people like Vladimir Putin. Look at people like even Donald Trump, As much as people might say this and that about them, their people respect them. They look up to them. They want to be like them. Why is that? It's because they see something that is great, you see. And the reason why they see something that is great is because they see that this person has some ideal, that there's a vision that is there, and he's outlined that vision for his people. And this is the vision that we should all jump on, you see. So that is how you bring unity in your people. If you provide them with a simple, straightforward ideology, everyone can follow that, no matter how brilliant he is, no matter how how would I put it, unfavorable he is. You are all one. We are all one people. You see what I mean? So it resonates from the person in the top of the food chain to the person right at the bottom. Everyone knows what the vision is, and you stand as a unit. This is what an ideology does. So an ideology is a driving force for the future, right? And this driving force should be curated very well so that the people are able to see that this is what we want, And I think I will just end there. Thank you very much.
In fact, there is nothing even to add on there, because Mr. Doji has powerfully, given what we'll be discussing. And having said that, today's topic has been a very powerful one. The topic at hand, we're looking at, leadership attributes, ideology, and governance. Based on what Mr. Doji's takeaway has been, I think based on that, I think we can end on that, and we're looking forward, to having another episode where we will find another powerful topic at hand that we'll be discussing next week. Having said that, I'll allow Mr. Doji to say his final byes.
Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Stay blessed, and looking forward, to another very powerful, discussion next week.